Hello and welcome to Profiles in Risk. This is your host, Tony Cañas, recording episode, 216 or something along the lines. And today I have with me John Warren. John is a lifelong life insurance executive, and for the last few years, been playing in the intersection between insurance and Insurtech. John, thank you for joining me today. How's it going?
Thank you, Tony. It's great. I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. And you are in Michigan, right? According to your LinkedIn?
Correct. I'm in Detroit.
Okay. And we are recording April 14th. So I'm guessing that either it's beautiful or it's like snowing.
Well, today we're having yesterday it was 70. Today it's upper 50s with 40 to 60 mile an hour wind gusts. So we've had winter, fall, spring 1, winter 2, fall, spring 2, and now I think we're going back to winter this weekend, and I think that's going to be it.
Probably the last one. Okay.
Yeah.
That's not too bad. Okay, perfect. So let's start with the consulting. So for the last 2.5, almost 3 years, you've been doing kind of strategic advice consulting. What have you been focused on?
So it's really kind of funny. As you mentioned, I've been in the insurance industry all of my professional life, and it's been life and annuities, but it's also been employee benefits and voluntary employee benefits. But I've always, whether I was running sales or running marketing for a variety of different companies, I was always involved with tech. We built an app at Symetra Financial to do fixed annuity quotes on a daily basis as opposed to sending a fax. I helped bring the first laptop enrollment system out at Colonial Life back in the early 90s. Most recently, the last 7 years, I've taken 3 different platforms to market, enrollment platforms. One for small employer groups on the employee benefit side. So think of it as, hey, I'm a big company. I get an email from HR. I click the link, and there are all my benefits that I enroll. Well, if you're a 30-person, heating, air conditioning contractor, your employees may or may not have a corporate email. They may or may not have a corporate device, but they all have personal emails, and you can push that information out that way. So that's what we did. Then worked for another carrier, or another Insurtech, venture capital funded Insurtech out of Austin, Texas, that had a platform that was multi-carrier, multi-product, but it was designed for high volume call centers. So think Affordable Health Care Act enrollment, Medicare, Medicaid enrollment, MedSup enrollment, annual enrollment between October and December. They make their money not on those core enrolled products, but they make money on all of the value meal that they sell with it. So, if the ACA is the quarter pounder, the life, the vision, the dental are the fries, the Coke and the pie, right? For the value meal, that's where they make their money. But if you're trying to enroll that, you're toggling back and forth between one carrier to another, which means you've got to re-enter personal information over and over and over again. So a 3-product, 4-product sale could take 20 minutes. So if you have multi-carrier, multi-product, single sign-on, it takes the information one time. If the question is identical from one product to another, it'll feed the information over to that other question. So you might be able to do that same 2 to 3 product sale in 10 minutes, talking to twice as many people. And then most recently, I was working with Munich Re as a consultant. They had a platform that they were using in Canada to sell voluntary employee benefits to backstop holes in the national healthcare system. As good as their national healthcare is, it's not that great. They still have holes. They wanted to bring it down to the United States and penetrate the worksite market. And so they brought me on board to consult in that respect. So after reviewing all the materials for 2 weeks, they asked me to go to New York and do a presentation, and my first slide read, "Shortest consulting gig on record." Because I told them that they didn't want to go into that market because, one, They didn't know Section 125. They didn't understand pre-taxation of benefits. They didn't have a TPA. They weren't a TPA, and they weren't prepared to bring on 30 to 40 carriers and all of their attending products onto the platform, which is just going to be too much of an effort. And so we pivoted and we went into the association, affinity, and gig space, and created a very sublime enrollment system, very much direct to association, then direct to the association member, direct to the gig member, direct to the affinity group, to the affinity member. So it's very much consumer, do your own thing, enroll yourself. And it was very much you give me the emails, we'll do the marketing, the consumer will self-enroll, they'll pay for it through bank draft or credit card, and there'll be a policy in their inbox when they shut down that website. So that's what, and so I got to flex a whole lot of muscle in that role. It was really cool. Distribution, strategy, biz dev, product development, customer journey. It was really what I think the intersection of insurance and Insurtech is all about.
So rolling out 3 platforms in the last few years. Number one, what were kind of the biggest learnings? Like, if you could go back to take your DeLorean back to yourself 6 years ago and go like, hey, this is gonna make it a lot easier for you to survive the next few years. What are the main learnings?
Well, I'm not doing 88 miles an hour. I'm telling you that right now. So really the biggest learning, and this happened in 2 of the 3 platforms. Don't be cheap with your development, and if you're smart, you won't go offshore. We went offshore at the company out of Texas, and we went offshore at Munich Re. And we used at Munich Re, I'll use this as the example. We used a system called PEGA as the programming system that ran the platform. And the problem with going with a vendor for a system or a program is that you get that vendor's flavor, the one that they understand the best. You don't necessarily get the best application of the application for your needs. If I had to do it over again, I would have gone to Hartford, Connecticut. I would have engaged PEGA. We would have spent more money per hour, but probably less money overall in the development. We would have gotten exactly what we wanted in the manner that we wanted it, and probably had been given advice as to what not to do programmatically to make it better. We ended up contracting with 2 vendors initially, had a falling out with those 2 vendors because they weren't making timelines. The baton handoff to the next set of vendors wasn't very good, so we lost a lot of time, effort, and money, and it just wasn't very good. The second thing I would tell you is, if you're marketing to consumers, you need to make sure that you understand what that marketing means. What do I mean by that? When you market to the masses, whether it's TV or print, it's almost the board of play where you have to be all inclusive and show different flavors of the melting pot that is the United States of America, or the world for that matter, whether it be gender or race or LGBTQ, whatever. That's the board of play. But when you're marketing to an individual, you have to be very careful that the individual is seeing marketing that represents them. So I'll use the example. We were doing a marketing campaign to the State Bar of Texas. Our marketing image was of a very attractive African-American woman or a very attractive Indian woman, both of whom were lawyers in a lawyer setting. But we were marketing to, 65-year-old white male Texas lawyers. They're not going to click on that. And what we found when we did research on the backside of our marketing and asked them why they weren't buying, they were like, I get a ton of emails. I have 2 seconds to look. And when I see an email that doesn't seem to resonate with me, I'm not going to click on it. So we lost, I don't know how many sales because we were trying to be socially redeeming, and we were, but that wasn't ringing the pay window. So that was, understand your market, understand how you're marketing. Nobody has figured out marketing to consumers yet from email. So there's lots to learn there.
With how well Facebook / Amazon / Google know me. And now I'm an extreme case.
That's frightening
because I'm very active on all those platforms, right?
Sure.
So it's probably harder with people who are not as active, but with how well the technology companies know me, I wonder. It's probably expensive, but I wonder if there's a way to show me, to have 15 different images and show me the one that is most like me, right?
That was exactly what we were intending to do at Munich Re, was give me your email list of 500,000 names. We will append, we can go out and append data. We can figure out, for the most part, who those folks look like, who they are, what their interests are. There's a ton of stuff out there. And excuse me, I have 4 Siberian Huskies and one of them wants to go out. And this never happens except when I'm on a Zoom call. So anyway, it's funny you say that, because I'm in the market for a new couch, and I made the mistake of seeing a couch ad on Facebook, and now all I get served up are couch ads, and they're not really relevant to what I'm looking at. It wasn't smart enough to know that I looked at this type of style. It's just serving out random couch ads. And so you hear a lot about machine learning and AI, and a lot of that is just buzz. Because if it's truly machine learning, it would learn and wouldn't make the same mistake over and over again. And it would learn enough to know that if I haven't clicked on something in 3 days, you should probably stop.
I get a ton of insurance ads. And it's one of the most expensive keywords. And it's wasted on me, because the reason I'm constantly looking at insurance stuff online is not because I'm buying insurance. It's because insurance as a career, right?
Right.
The career and the recruiting aspect of insurance, not I'm currently in the market, but because so many cookies on my computer are insurance related, I just get constant insurance ads.
Right.
But yeah, I do wonder if there's a way to better target those the images in the ads, if you're willing to spend the money.
There is. I mean, the idea is, when Munich shut the program down, I was working with an external marketer. We had solved a lot of the issues. He was ready to hit the send button on 500,000 emails to physicians across the country for the $1 million term product that was auto underwritten. And this was a beautiful product. We actually we did what insurance carriers all know they need to do. We went through all the questions and we rewrote them so that your average 6th grader could understand what they were. So, and all that had to be refiled with the states of insurance. And then we went and redid the policy form, and it looks more like a brochure. It had photos, it had graphs, it was something that people would read. Now, I would argue that every carrier on the planet knows they need to refile their forms so they're more user-friendly, and knows they need to refile their app questions so they're more user-friendly, but they don't do it because time is the enemy, and we have to get the product filed, we got to do this, and we don't have time to redo all that. I would argue that you now no longer have the time not to do that.
And with so many Insurtechs playing in so many different sides of the industry, I'm assuming that they are not making that mistake, right? Like if there's anything I hear all the time from Insurtechs, is the application is beautiful, right? The application only asks the questions that it can't find on other databases, and it only asks you the follow-up question if it absolutely applies to you. So I would think that they've also been careful to file much more modern applications?
Well, so you can't file an application unless you have an attending product to go with it. So the carrier would have to file the application. So my guess would be, to backstop your assumption, they're using the questions that the carrier has given them, but they've put some AI behind it, so it's only serving up the questions that that applicant needs. Now, we had this, so when I tell you we refiled 400 reflexive questions, so imagine, yes, we have an auto underwritten term product to $1 million, and we've got a very smart algorithmic engine and the ability to go out and append data from databases all throughout the web, MIB, MVR, you name it, we can get it, prescription databases. If I went into the application and you went into the application, I'm going to be served up probably 14 different questions than you are, because I might check, yeah, I have a little cholesterol problem, or yeah, I have a little high blood pressure, or maybe I'm a diabetic. Checking any one of those boxes is going to serve up reflexive questions that are going to be served up to me. But you may be a marathon runner, eat healthy, have a body mass index of 8% body fat. You skate right through with probably 10 questions and never see any of the questions that I get. And yet we'll both get a rate. Mine will be rated, yours won't. That's what they're doing when they say they've got a beautiful app. So there's some of that going on behind the scenes.
Okay. I have two different sites that I'd love to pick your brain on. Let's go through the career first. So you go to school, get a degree in economics. How did you end up in the life insurance space?
Nobody picks the insurance industry as a
Exactly.
career.
Yeah.
It picks you. So I went to Clemson, got my economics degree, went to Ole Miss, got my MBA. It was a one-year program. I couldn't afford not to do it. And married my wife 9 days later, no job. It's the mid 80s. So it tells you how old I am. And I ended up getting a job at Wausau Insurance Companies because it was a sales job. I'd run my dad's manufacturing rep. He was a manufacturer's rep in Michigan. I ran his business for a couple of summers when he was ill. And so I knew I could sell. I knew I could, drive a car, sell, do the things you need to do. And, it's just product. Product is the easy part. So did that for a number of years, but I always knew that I wanted to be the product manager or the brand manager. That was what sort of lit me up and made me say tilt when I was in school. So I took a job with Colonial Life and became a product manager and brought a number of products to market. And that's where I fell into the technology piece, and then started working my way through, different carriers, different, held VP of marketing, VP of sales roles, a couple different places on the employee benefits side, the voluntary employee benefits side, and on the life and annuity side. And then I'm like the only person alive that can get downsized out of a job in Seattle and find a new job in Detroit. But that's what happened. I ran a career agency for Prudential for 3 years here in Michigan, realized that was just not a good fit for me. It was just not something I enjoyed doing. And left and went to work for my first Insurtech platform.
Okay. So on the life side, I know just enough to be dangerous. So much less than I know about PNC. Last I had heard a few years ago, the innovations in that space were kind of like fast underwriting from like my saliva kind of thing. And some talk of I hope you can still hear me.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Some talk of wearables someday help being relevant. So I'm curious what what do you think is coming for the future of the life space?
Interesting. So I've had some interesting conversations. Wearables were like all the rage, I think, when the Apple Watch 2 or 3 came out. That was going to be the thing. And there were even some carriers that were giving them away to their policyholders. And if you wear it for a year and give us your data, you could see a lower rate. Here's what I'll tell you. The life insurance is never cheaper than it is the day you buy it, because the following day you're a day older.
You get older, yeah.
So I don't care how much healthier you get. That 1 year on the actuarial table is a killer. The saliva-based testing is interesting. I've actually had a conversation with a gentleman that has a company. It's called Foxo, and he found a saliva-based test at UCLA, and it's epigenetics. Now, you can't do DNA testing for purposes of underwriting for life insurance.
Okay.
This is epigenetics. So think metadata on a cell phone. Okay, it's not DNA, it's the level above DNA, but it is being tested right now, and so far early results are it's as good or possibly better than a full PIR. So imagine if you were able to marry this saliva-based test with an auto underwritten policy that has pretty competitive rates, and you use the saliva-based test to verify that what you think you're getting on the application from the auto-written application is actually true, then you've got a higher degree of actuarial certainty for your rate, and you're probably taking the app on a Monday and issuing the policy on a Friday. So you've removed the pain point that every rep has, which is, I don't sell life insurance because it's 3 weeks to 3 months. I have to babysit the carrier. If I don't babysit the carrier, nothing gets done. And my client will go out and buy a flat screen TV, spend $1,500 on the TV, and there goes my premium, and I'm never going to get them to buy it. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah. So they something made them worried about dying. But
3 months is a long time to forget
3 weeks
about.
later, they forgot the emotional effect of that is no longer no longer there.
My friend died of COVID, but that was 3 months ago. I'm so over that now.
Yeah. The recency bias is.
I don't mean to speak ill of that, but COVID has been good for the life insurance industry because it's caused people to look at their own mortality. But that doesn't take away from the fact that it's still painful to be underwritten for life insurance. I mean, it's excruciating. I worked for Prudential, bought some life insurance. My wife and I both got new policies. We had to be underwritten. It was, PIR. And even for me as an employee, it was almost 90 days for underwriting. And it was ridiculous. And it shouldn't be like that. I mean, we're all used to click, buy, done, right? And in the life insurance industry is anything but click, buy, done. And if it is click, buy, done, it's click, buy, done with a 50% premium because they're afraid they're going to be adversely selected against. So, unfortunately, there isn't enough algorithmic data. There aren't enough algorithms, and there's not enough ways to append data to get your price for an auto underwritten term policy equal to the price of a fully underwritten term policy. There's always going to be a premium. Where I stand on that is, if the premium isn't severe, people will do it. It's sort of I'll use the example of, you can go to the grocery store and pick up that loaf of bread and milk and stand behind, Mrs. Smith with her 2 kids and her 2 baskets of groceries. Even if you're in the, self-checkout line, you're still waiting. Or you can go to 7-Eleven, you can buy the same loaf of bread, the same gallon of milk, and you might spend 50 cents more. But you got out of there in 5 minutes versus 25 minutes.
Well,
is it worth it? Is it worth it to you? And the short answer is yes, it's worth it to you. up to a certain level of policy. I think once you get past probably 5 million in face value,
then it's significant money.
then it becomes significant money. But if we're talking the difference between, you know, $120 a month and $130 a month, most people aren't going to blink at $10 a month if it gets them their policy in 5 days versus 90.
I love the grocery example because I am the extreme of that. No kids, and my girlfriend and I eat very, very differently. I'm keto and she's very much not. So we cook separately. So I'm really inefficient in the grocery store. Like I am not good at finding stuff. So it takes me forever. I don't like doing it. So I 100% of my grocery is Instacart. I get it all delivered, and yeah, it's more expensive, but the convenience is absolutely worth it. Now, right? If I had 3 kids, like the expense of Instacart for everything would make a huge difference. But with just one person, it's really not that big of a difference. So yes, I completely get how the fast underwriting makes sense if the premium difference is not better than the pain. Yeah,
right. I mean, and so many of the carriers out there today that you're hearing on the radio that are advertising, it's basically instant issue underwriting. On average, it's 35 to 40% of the time, and the rest, the other 60% of the time, the people are being kicked back out into a call center for a Part 2 app and a paramed, and that's not what we signed up for. But the data isn't there, and given HIPAA, it won't be until such time as we figure something else out, which is why I think the saliva thing is so brilliant. Now, let me just add that this gentleman has reached out to a number of different insurance carriers. He's got a relationship with a reinsurer, and they're going to use their auto underwritten engine to work with this. But carriers are squeamish about trying something new. They never want to be the first. They want to be the third or the fourth. And I'm looking at this going, every carrier on the planet knows they need to do something. They need to be innovative. They know they're going to be left behind. If Amazon comes out with an insurance, if they buy a shell company and they start filing product and selling product, guess where everybody's going to buy their product? They're going to buy it on Amazon. And these insurance companies are going to be, nothing but books of business that get sold.
I've been worrying about one of the tech companies coming into insurance for a long time. And the conclusion I've come to is that luckily our return on capital is not high enough to be exciting for them. They just have better investments. I think that they'll continue kind of playing on the distribution side a little bit, but I can't imagine them becoming a carrier.
If interest rates go back up to what they were, if you can get a 5% annuity, do a 5x5 annuity, now all of a sudden carriers can start making money without an underwriting profit. They can make money on their investment, which is what they used to do.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Which is why so many traditional life insurance carriers got out of the business and sold their life block, sold their life divisions because they couldn't make money on it. It was, just too hard. But yeah, the carriers know they need to do something. They're not sure what they want to do. If they're doing something in-house, likelihood is it won't come to fruition because it's always scope creep. It's never done. They try to build something in an ivory tower, take it out to the market. And what they really need to do is a crawl, walk, run approach in phases, test, retest, learn, relearn, so that when you finally bring it to market, people are like, yeah, this is exactly what I wanted, as opposed to thinking what they want. That's where the automakers made their mistakes, back in the 70s, is they thought they knew what the population wanted and they were wrong and they weren't listening. Now they listen. Or you have carriers that are investing in 30 different Insurtechs all at once, hoping that, 2 of the 30 stick to the wall and may have some tangential impact on what they're doing, and they can actually leverage that investment. You know, I'm not saying either is the wrong way to do it. They're both potential solutions. At least they're doing something. But I think I think it's like anything. No decision is a de facto decision. And, I think I would rather make a decision and go down a path, try something new, knowing that, an obstacle is simply a detour on my way to my destination.
Yeah, I like the try something new approach. Otherwise, we'll just never
It's never
improve
going to
what we do.
change. I mean, think about it. If you're the carrier that fixes the pain point that every life insurer has, which is the delay, the time, the effort, the delay, and the babysitting, if you fix that, you don't think you're going to be the carrier of choice with every IMO on the planet? Of course you are. Of course you are. And it's the same with anything else. It's just you carriers can no longer afford to be hard to do business with. You've got legacy processes, legacy procedures, and in a lot of cases, it's just you have to be willing to say, okay, we're going to reinvent this. It worked for 80 years, but just because it worked for 80 years doesn't mean it's going to sustain us for 80 more.
Okay. Great chatting with you. It's been very interesting. Like I said, it's an area of the business that I just don't know that much about. So always interesting to chat with people from the live side, and especially with success in launching something new in the last few years, since it's so important for our industry to get good at that.
Well, I appreciate you having me. It's this is a fun forum, a first for me, and you can tell I'm pretty passionate about the industry and what we do, and driving change. And I feel like this is this industry, whether you're in employee benefits or voluntary benefits or life or annuities, we as people in the industry do well by doing good. The products we sell
industry
are socially redeeming. You can look yourself in the mirror every day you're brushing your teeth and feel good about what you do, and know that somewhere along the line you've impacted someone's life. You may not know it directly, but you have. And that's all we can ever ask, is to just do the very best we can by doing well. So thank you for your time today and for your audience, and I look forward to speaking with you again.
Thank you.